This is my first time ever making a video like this one, so if you guys want to press the like button, subscribe, and or comment and let me know what I'm doing and how I'm doing for you guys, I would really appreciate that. So let's get started in here. Today what we're doing is we're doing 4 different types of strategies. We're going to start off with a complete and utter noob strategy. So what I did was I disabled all monkey knowledge, like I'm just kind of walking into the game here. The only thing that I have available to me is every type of monkey unlocked as far as experience goes. But we're going to be even fancier than that. We're not going to use any 5th tiers for you guys, so most people can probably play this out without too much harm. So the first part of our strategy is just to get Quincy going, because Quincy is a nice, easy hero that has all types of popping power, except for, like, kind of lead popping power right when you need it. But other than that, he's just straight up solid. Then we're going to build a dart monkey somewhere in the middle of the map, and we're also going to build a tack shooter somewhere in the middle of the map. Usually tack shooters are a little more specific on how you're going to place them, but you want to put them somewhere where you can actually hit things, and then usually somewhere where you have multiple places around them that you can actually go for. So keep in mind that this is, again, designed for me to teach a noob how to play the game, somebody who really has not played the game very much, if at all. And what we're going to do is we're going to buy our tack shooter up to even faster shooting as soon as possible, and then we're going to upgrade to the 4th tier bottom path as soon as possible. This is my #1 recommended tower for newer players, because it does something that a lot of other towers doesn't do. It pops pretty much, I don't want to call it infinite balloons, but for a really long time, it pops out the balloons, and it's got a ton of Moab popping power, which a lot of new players will really struggle against. So as you get the money, buy the more tax, the even more tax, the tax sprayer, and then eventually we're going to save up for this overdrive, which is 3,455 bucks. Might seem like a big, hefty amount of money here, but let me tell you guys, even just this one little tax shooter with the Quincy cleanup is actually a really good combo. So whenever you get the money, buy your overdrive. We made it to round 26 without any issues. In fact, we're popping almost all the balloons before they even make it around the first circle, which is pretty freaking sweet. But you're going to have to be a little bit active here, because the next big problem for us is going to be round 28. So what we're going to do is we're going to build something that pops lead balloons. Alright, for the rest of the game, too. We're going to buy a sniper, we're going to get full metal jacket, and for now, we're going to put him on strong. Most of the time, the best position for snipers is always going to be strong. You can mess around with targeting a little bit, first, last, close, and strong with most things, but when in doubt, leave it on first. If you don't know what to put it on, leave it on first. But for a lot of towers that do damage, specifically like snipers, it makes sense for them to try to hit the strongest balloon to allow you to pop through to a kind of lower layer, allowing everything else to just sort of clean it up. I guess this is an important time for a quick lesson on pierce, damage, and then just popping power. I like to explain this to any new player just so they kind of understand the game and kind of the process of it. Something like a catapult monkey, which will shoot through a lot of balloons all at once. If you had 100 red balloons coming out, he would shoot through like 20 red balloons all in one shot. That does a lot of pierce. Something that does damage is something like a sniper. He can pop 2 balloons per shot, or when we get full metal jacket, 4 balloons in one shot. But it's not 4 different balloons. It's 1 yellow balloon popping down into nothing, or 1 pink balloon popping down into red. So, pierce and damage are both different things, and then what's weird is a lot of towers have a combination of both pierce and damage that you kind of have to use together to make them kind of be a good popping power tower. Alright, so hopefully that explains things a little bit. I didn't do a perfect job because I can't really build a lot of stuff on the screen here, but hopefully it's a pretty decent explanation of kind of how things are going to work for you. Next thing you're going to build is a middle path bouncing bullet. And now we can put him back to first, and we're also going to buy the large caliber here. This guy's just really nice for cleanup, because no matter what you're doing, he's going to be hitting a lot of balloons, he's going to be popping lead balloons for you, he's going to hit camo leads for you, so you really have all types of balloon popping power by this point in the game, which is early game as far as I'm considered. And you're going to see against the Moab, this is not going to go bad at all. We're going to easily take this guy down with a really nice cleanup on this guy too. So let's show it off. 38, 39, and everything, not too bad. You can tell our sniper's still doing a really good job. Kind of like instantaneously taking down zebras and above is just kind of nice to watch. And even rainbows turning down into reds. Who cares, man? Who cares? All right, first Moab coming out. So you're going to see the Moab layer itself got taken down by the tack shooter. The sniper's going to clean up most of the balloons on the inside. Of course, we got Quincy and a dart monkey to kind of clean up the rest. The next step, which is, I'm going to recommend it to almost every single newer player, if you can, whenever possible, get a 2-2 village in range of all or most of your towers. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go for a village here. We're going to go for a 2-2 tower. What that allows us to do is it gives every single tower in this range also camo detection. So instead of just saying, well, some people have cam protection, everybody's got it now. And in addition, we're increasing all of the attack speeds of every monkey in this range here by 15%. Again, just buffing everything. That's why villages are nice to have. If you have a little bit of extra cash, usually in the mid 40s, kind of late 40s, this is when you want to do it. Get that guy going, and you're going to be a happy camper. Now, because this is a noob strategy, I don't want to get too crazy and too advanced with things that could help you out. For example, using rubber to golds or alchemists or banana farms just yet. We're gonna save that for later. For now, we just want to build towers that pop up balloons and pop balloons well. So, I'm going to recommend a cannon to you guys. This guy is pretty good against Moabs. Now we need something that's going to do grouped damage or balloon damage. And cannons and mortars are like a great way to just do grouped damage to lots of balloons all on the screen at once. And what we're going to go for is we're going to go for a heavy bombs with a bottom path recursive cluster. Realistically, a top path or a bottom path cannon can both be pretty useful against the balloons, but I personally like this one best, so we're just going to go for it. And it's finally that time. We're going to be building our last tower of the entire strategy here. We're going to be building a super monkey. All right, now, a lot of people might be thinking, well, that's the most expensive tower in the game, Chris. Like, why are you making us do something so complicated and crazy? Super monkeys aren't that complicated. They're actually one of the most simple towers in the game. They just kind of do pops. That's what they do. That's what they're designed to do. They pop almost everything, so they're nice to have on the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a super monkey, and we're going to go for a top path super monkey. And once we get the money, we're going to go for a sun avatar. But for right now, we're going to get our cross path going, and we're going to buy the super range and the epic range. All right, all of this combined together doesn't mean it's got to be that complicated, but basically, we're getting a lot of extra range here, so we can hit balloons pretty much everywhere on the screen. We've already got cam detection from our village. We don't have a weakness here, and we've got lead popping power from the plasma blast, so we have all types of popping power here. The only thing we have to do is get a sun avatar, and we're basically donezo with this strategy. All right, so before round 63, we're able to afford our sun avatar, but even if we didn't afford it for round 63, we're still going to clean everything up with our cannon here, so don't worry about that. But here we go. Sun avatar is officially here, and we, believe it or not, have won the game. It's that easy, guys. It's that easy. Build a couple towers to get started in here. Make sure you use the right towers at the right time, and you can beat most maps without too much difficulty. Even the late 70s will be pretty easy for you. You can see the reinforced, or just the regular VFBs with a bunch of regen rainbows and everything coming out, but no, we are melting these guys. It's just a good combo. You know, you've got kind of Sun Avatar to make sure that nothing big gets through. You got the cannon to do most of the group damage, the texture here to a lot of the Moab damage. And you can even take down round 79 and even round 80 without too many issues here. Don't forget that, again, this is the noob strategy. This is for somebody who's not really played the game very much, just to get you an idea of what you should be buying and how you should buy it to make sure you're going to beat the game without too many major issues here. And there we go. We've done it. Now I'm going to show off what I would call a beginner strategy. This is not somebody who's just brand new to the game, but if you're really struggling to kind of get going in here and you're struggling against Impoppable, or maybe even some early Chimps games, this is a strategy that might work for you. Keep in mind that I'm using 0 monkey knowledge to do this, and we're going to be playing on Impoppable today, which means everything is going to be significantly more expensive, even more expensive than Chimps mode. To start off your game, you're going to build 2 druids. I only get 650 bucks instead of 850 bucks to start off my game, so you could probably get 2 druids faster than me if you got your monkey knowledge flowing. But for me, no big deal. I'm just going to go for 2 druids, and we're going to put them pretty close together to each other. I want to try to spam my druids, or at least all of my druids, very close to each other. When you get the money, make sure you buy Oben, and make sure you put him as close as you can to all of your other druids that already exist, because he buffs druids. All druids hit range get +1 pierce. Don't forget that that pierce aspect is basically making us go through an extra balloon, so our shotgun sort of thorns here can go through even more balloons that are behind them. And it really, really works out, especially in the early game here. Even if you're a beginner, I'm expecting you to be able to use all the towers in the game here, and I'm expecting you to be able to use abilities and stuff if it comes down to it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a banana farm. You guys are lucky. I want to build some nice banana farms for later on, but for right now, you do have to collect these bananas. Now is one of the best times in the game to make money. So we're going to buy a 2-0 banana farm at this point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that Open is throwing down his thorns whenever possible, specifically for round 24 in addition. But because I'm being nice to you guys, we're going to throw down an extra ninja over here. Right now, it's not going to be all that helpful, but for round 24, we do need a camo detection tower. We could use the thorns to kind of clean these guys up, but it's a little too RNG sometimes for a beginner player. So we're going to throw that down, and we're also getting a ninja for that little bit of extra popping power here. So to make sure we don't lose, we're going to go for a top path, Heart of the Thunder, and we're going to start upgrading up our druids down to bottom path as soon as we possibly can. As time marches forward, we realize that bananas equal deliciousness, so we're going to go for a marketplace. What this allows us to do is not worry about making money for the rest of the game. And believe it or not, I'm not going to be building any more banana farms for the rest of the game. That's enough money for us. This is going to make us a significant amount of money by the end of the game. Enough where I feel like it'll help us out actually quite a bit. So next up, what we're going to do is, as you can tell, things are still going pretty good, but our biggest weakness right now is going to be camo Bloons. So let's do something about that. We're going to go for a top path ninja up to 401. Number one recommended kind of like beginner-esque tower combos is going to be a 401 ninja or 402 if you want to with an alchemist. And this alchemist is going to increase your popping power so much it's going to be almost absurd. Right now, we're actually good with a third tier Alch, but as soon as we can, we're going to go for a stronger stim 420 Alch. And you're going to see why this is so important for us in the long run. All right, for round 42, we're going to get our stronger stim with them perishing potions. This Alch can power up more than one tower in most situations. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm powering up my Ninja and Oben, which are right now my two most powerful towers. Not that it really matters too much what we're powering up. Just make sure when you put your Alch down, you put them down next to the Ninja or make them your closest tower, because they're going to buff them the most compared to anybody else. And now, money's going to start flowing in. And this is where you're going to want to say, well, you know what? I want more money. So let's make that happen. We're going to go for another Alchemist. All right, this is, again, it's a beginner strategy, but we're teaching you guys how to make money. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to get a bottom path rubber to gold. And we're going to buy the larger potions in addition to this guy, just to make sure he's got any extra health that we can get. And we're going to put him on last. What this is going to allow us to do is to make not a significant amount of extra cash, but just more money for the rest of the game, and we never have to touch him again. He's just going to keep doing things. He doesn't do many pops, but he makes us extra money. The way he makes us extra money is by throwing his potions onto certain Bloons, and those certain Bloons will turn to gold, and then when we pop those gold Bloons, they're worth extra cash. So it's just, yeah, it's good. Now, with all of our extra money here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be buying Druids for a while. So we're going to go for Heart of the Thunder Poplusts or Thorn Swarm Poplusts. Go with whichever ones you feel like doing, or just mix and match a little bit. I always like to mix whenever possible. It just makes me feel a little bit better over here. And then we're also, in addition to that, we're going to be throwing down a village. So just put down a village wherever you can get where it powers up most of your Druids. If not, try to get it to power up as many people as you can. I'm just going to go right here in the kind of like middle of the map, and we're going to go for a 2-2 village. It's kind of the standard. If you can get a 2-2 village, you're doing all right. And you don't need much help from me here. Just go for at least 5 Druids up to a combination of whatever pathway you want up here with Poplusts. All right, and you're going to notice that there's this little kind of multiplier over here on top of some of your Druids. If you put Druids in range of each other, they're going to power each other up with an extra speed boost. But it specifically has to be this type of Druid, a Poplust Druid. When you get that Poplust Druid, you're going to be supporting all of the other Druids around yourself, and it maxes out at around 5. You don't need to go all the way up to 5, but you can to get that extra bonus. So we're going to go for another Heart of the Thunder here and another Poplust. And you know what? I'm just going to chill with my 4 Poplust Druids for a long time here while we save up some money and pop some Bloons. I like to show off round 63 because it kind of shows if I'm BSing or not with our goodness quality. Because if you can pop round 63 easily, then you know you're doing fantastic. If you can't pop round 63 very easily and you're popping them at the very back here, have like a Spike Factory, barely hanging on, then you know you got some issues, bro. But like right now, life is pretty good. In addition, don't forget this guy making us mad amounts of cash, dude. All those leads on 63 and 59. Ooh. It felt good for my little piggy bank over here. But I'd like to remind you guys real quick that we are playing on Impoppable, which means money is, or should be, scarcer than usual. But because we were efficient by getting an early banana farm and not being crazy with over farming, we're able to get an extra $18,000 or so, and we could sell this guy for an extra $5K if we want to, netting us at least $13,000 extra right now. Or roughly 13,000. And then this guy's also making us a lot of extra cash here. You can see lead balloons just giving us $50 every single time we pop one of those, plus all the extra rubber to gold money we've been getting from just popping things. That is going to allow us on round 75 here to easily afford our 75, 76, our Avatar of Wrath. Yeah, girl. Boom. I'll be honest with you. I feel pretty much unstoppable once I get an Avatar of Wrath because this guy's really, really cool. The more balloons there are, the more damage it does. Which means, as you get to the point where you're like on round 96 and 98, where you fight the most balloons that ever come out against you, you get even stronger. It's kind of goofy, but like, as you get overwhelmed, you get stronger. And it just makes you basically unstoppable. Here's round 80 just to show you again we're not BSing. Round 80 sometimes gets pretty far. In this situation, I mean, we're wrapping around the first circle here and we're getting absolutely annihilated. On top of that, we already got $20,000 saved up. Clearly, we made some interesting and smart plays at the beginning of the game, which is making the end part of the game significantly easier. At this point in the game, you could buy whatever you want. I'm not saying that you will automatically win. In fact, the bad balloon will probably be somewhat problematic, even if you've got an Avatar of Wrath. But build whatever you want to. As long as you're spending your money, you're probably going to be pretty decent. On top of that, it's good to explore different options and see how well they work for you. You know, like, it's good to explore. But for my safety purposes, what I want to do is I want to build 2 towers together. All right, these are really, really goofy, but they don't usually work all that well together. But trust me on this, it's just going to be good today. We're going to be going for a spike factory up to bottom path permaspike, and then we're also going to be going for bigger stacks and white hot spikes. You can alchem and stuff like that if you want to get fancy with it, but I think we're good with what we got here because all we're really doing is making sure if a random bloon sneaks through, permaspike can clean it up. Even if a full-on bad sneaks through without killing it at all, I think the bad will eventually die if you have a full permaspike load. So, yeah, it's a really crazy crap has to happen for anything to get through this permaspike in the first place. So again, feel free to explore and test out different tower combinations if you want to. Right now our permaspike still has 0 poppers because our Avatar of Wrath is owning so hard. But the next tower I'm going to recommend to you guys is going to be a pod. This is a Prince of Darkness. So bottom path, Prince of Darkness. Cross path doesn't matter too much, but personally I'm a bigger fan of the top path in most situations. This guy's nice because he decamalizes balloons automatically. On top of that, creates a gigantic zombie balloon army that basically it's difficult for things to get through. It's kind of like a Spike Factory safety net that could be more actively played, sort of like depending on where you put him. And in this situation, I put him closer to the front of the map than usual. In most situations, I put him a little bit closer to the edge of the map, but I feel pretty comfy with what I got here, so that's why we're going for this guy. So again, I'm not trying to rub this in anybody's faces or anything like that, but this is round 98. This is usually a very, very difficult round. We've got no monkey knowledge activated whatsoever, and this is just what it's going to look like if you use this tower combo with each other. In addition, we've got $30,000 saved up. We just got max level open, and I didn't spam banana farms. I think that's a very important thing to note. I think some people at this point in the game be like, well, how can I get my 64th banana farm up in here? It's clearly not necessary. You're overdoing it in a lot of situations. Just don't worry about it. Now, the bad balloon here is probably the first thing that I'm like, well, you know, I mean, if things go a little bit wrong, you could probably have a bad balloon stake through a somewhat difficult map, and that's where your permaspike comes in. In this situation, our $40,000 permaspike here has done literally nothing, and just was a safety net, allowed us to keep us in the game. Next up, we're starting a chimps game. This is what I would consider an advanced strategy. I was going to say advanced map, but it's not an advanced map. An advanced strategy. Chimps mode stands for no continues, no health, no income, no monkey knowledge, no powers, no selling. You have to think about what you're going to do before it's going to happen, and you have to be accurate with what you're going to do, because if you mess up, you cannot change it very easily. You can still move things around with a helipilot and stuff like that, but it is not an easy strategy to pull off. So, you kind of have to be mindful of how you're going to play this game. And to start us off, we're going to go for a straight-up blade shooter. I'm not sure if I want to go for an Adora first or after my blade shooter. I'm going to kind of just gauge and see how things are going here. But when they say no continues, there's always kind of an exit strategy. All right, if you're not worried about getting a black chimps medal as your first time beating chimps, you can always exit out, go home, and then you can just press continue as you come back into the game here. Nothing wrong with that. Just get used to the fact that if you have to do it like 10 times in a row, it can get kind of annoying and stupid and stuff like that. But other than that, it's totally fine to just restart your game and maneuver your strategy around a little bit. All right, so we're able to manage a non-blade shooter strategy. So we're going to throw down Adora next, and we're just going to throw her kind of in the middle of the map. Cool thing about Adora is she can see through walls, so we're, again, thinking ahead about how we want to play this properly. Especially once we get our abilities going, we can just kind of launch things all over the map and kill everything. It's going to be sweet. Now, an advanced strategy is going to have a lot more going on. You're going to have to actually pick towers and just actually upgrade just a few upgrades at a time, be more specific about how you're going to get things, and also worry a little bit about cave detection and other stuff that you normally wouldn't have to worry about in some situations. This map in particular is extra specially difficult, so you can't just get a village and buff everything. You have to individually get towers and things with cam detections to start off your game, and then later on in the game, you're going to have to think about what you're going to use to decamelize the Bloons. And or if you're going to make sure you decamelize the Bloons. Right now, what we got going on is this is going to be my lead popping power. I've just got a rapid reload, bigger blast. I've got an arcane mastery wizard for right now, which is going to be my arcane spike and eventually my arc mage to pop a lot of the Moab class Bloons. And I'm also, believe it or not, if I can fit it here, I'm going to go for a pod. Yeah, so we're going to go for a double wizard strategy. It's kind of goofy to go double wizard strategy, but it really does work if you can work it out properly. So here's our first problem Bloon. We've got a Moab coming out. So we're going to wait just a little bit. We're going to use Adora's ability a little bit later on. We're going to hope that this tack shooter or blade shooter kind of clean up a lot of the Moab layer, and then the unpopped army cleans up the rest of the Bloons on the inside, and it worked out pretty well for us. Now that we've got all of this going for us, what's our plan? Well, I think I'm going to go for an arcane spike. And I think, you know, my previous two strategies have been just do this and you win. Then do this and you win. Build this tower and this loadout and you win. But at this point, you have to realize that it's not as easy as just building exactly what I build and you win. Technically, yes, you could just copy my strategy exactly, but are you actually learning anything or doing anything? No, not really. So at this point, it's good to start testing things out and learning a lot of the kind of intricacies of the game. For example, learning that you can see through walls. Certain towers can see through walls, and when you can see through walls, you got to use them to your advantage. In this case, this is a perfect example using a tower that not only can see through walls, but also is good against Moabs, which is where the Moabs come out at the top here, all combined together into one delicious roasted package of chicken. All right, yeah, so here we go, arcade spike. We're feeling good, right? At least I am. So as you can probably tell, I like wizards for their Moab popping power, specifically the arcane spike. I got him on first still, but that's okay. But now we still need some Bloon popping power. So we're going to buy a biggest one, or really a big one for now. We're going to get the rapid reload. We're just going to leave in the middle of the map here, so if Bloons ever, you know, obviously Moabs kind of pop closer to the entrance, Bloons closer to the exit. So that's why I'm going to leave my big one just kind of right in the middle of the map here. It just works out. And we also have a lot of money saved up too. And believe it or not, the big one at this point in the game is still affecting the Bloons all the way around here. So this is just like a beautiful play from us right now. Good Moab popping power, good Bloon popping power. Combine it all together, we got a good team. Again, I like to show off round 63 just to show you guys that we're not screwing off. We're actually got a decent strategy going for us. And as you can tell, 63 is going to get on pretty easily, no abilities or anything required. Surprisingly, before any big problem areas, we're able to afford our Archmage here. $34,000 invested into this one tower on round 71. But he is solid and delicious. And I'm going to leave him just on first for now. You know, if we need to change something, we'll change it for later. But so far, I've had to use 0 abilities. I think I used one ability at around like 25 or something for some purple Bloons, but other than that, I haven't really had to use it at all. So I think the best way to kind of encapsulate, and I think that's probably the first time I've ever used the word encapsulate in my entire life, but it just felt right. All right, hopefully you guys feel right about me encapsulating this entire thing for you. But anyways, the best way to encapsulate this idea of an advanced strategy is to say, use the things that are going to be working well for that map and in that scenario. For example, we want something that's going to see through walls on this map, so we use something that sees through walls. Not everybody's going to know automatically that an Archmage would be good on this map without either some experience or just getting randomly lucky. And then in addition to that, getting something like a biggest one might seem like a little bit of a funky thing to do, but when you actually think about the giganticness of the explosion and kind of the double entendre of maps right here next to each other, it actually like works out really, really well. So think about weird things like that and use them all together to make your squad and your team and everything just work. It's usually a pretty scary round, but we're popping most things before they even make it halfway. Oh my god, my dogs, man. Oh, they get so annoying sometimes. Lily's just extra jumpy lately. I don't know what it is. But anyways, round 95 goes down pretty easily. Round 96 here, things are going pretty well. We've got about $50,000 saved up, and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not sure if we even need to buy anything else to win the rest of the map here. But just to be fancy, I want to get a tower that I really, really like, that I'd recommend to a lot of players. If you can get it going on a tougher map, get it going. It's really freaking good. A lot of people underestimate this thing. And we'll show it to you in just a second here. All right, 'tis about that time. I don't know if we have quite enough money here, but we'll definitely get it for the next round here. Yeah, we need another 700 bucks. All right, no problem. So I still have not been using my abilities, by the way. Adora has been very light on abilities so far. I haven't sacrificed anything or used my abilities pretty much at all. Ooh, look at these balloons. They're getting a little bit trickier this time. I'm going to use my ability because I'm a little afraid. I don't want to run into anything out. I'm, like I said, $700 away from like my next big upgrade, so I don't want to screw things up right now. And there it is! Inferno Ring has been officially achieved. This guy's got camo detection with his Inferno Blast here automatically, and just tons of balloon popping power. I never even cross-path them either. Let's go more tax. More tax and even more tax. And that's going to clean it all up for us nice and easily using basically 3 5th-tier towers and our Adora, and then just a random Necromancer. Do I include the Blade Shooter in that talk right there? I don't know. All right, Adora's a Void Ball, cleaning up that, getting around Hunter to go in here as well. With Archmage, we're expecting him to do most of the bad damage here, but he's still not perfect against bads. These guys have about 20,000 health plus, so even though he's got a lot of Pierce to go through a lot of Moabs, one big one, not exactly quite so easy. But with a couple extra abilities here, we take down the bad, and we show off our advanced strategy. Woo! So our advanced strategy is going to start us off with a triple dart monkey start with a sniper combo into our hero. And for our hero, we're just going to kind of put him somewhat nearer to the middle of the map, but kind of like off-center a little bit. I'm going to be spamming a lot of random turrets from his shop as soon as we possibly can. So the basic idea here, though, is to use Geraldo to the best of your ability, and then build some decent towers that all have advantages on the map that you're searching on, the map that you're playing on. For example, an Archmage on this map might not be the best solution because, you know, you're not hitting Moabs all that efficiently in just one area. You don't really see through walls. You don't got that much room to work with. So instead, we're going to have to do things like slowing the balloons down. This is a very short path for them to cross. So we got to slow things down to make sure we're going to be doing a better job overall. But to start off, that's kind of a late game strategy. To start off, we just want to get regular old popping power and hope that that works out for us. Sometimes you even got to get a little fancy with things. For example, I had a little bit of trouble with the Moab, so I used Jerry's Fire. Just a single Jerry's Fire ended up getting us through that thing, and now we're doing pretty good as far as everything is actually concerned here. What I decided to go for was a recursive cluster kind of in the middle of the map. I also decided to go for a bomber race. These are all things that are really, really good against the balloons, but struggle against the Moabs. But now. So, what are we going to do here? Well, we're going to start off by getting a super-powered tack shooter. It's just kind of the standard go-to thing if you're needing some extra pop and power here. Go for an overdrive to even fast shooting. And we're going to alchemize in between my cannon and my tack shooter here. Trying to use every single buff that we can get. Right now, we're still not getting too advanced with our strategy. This is somewhat normalized, I suppose, as long as you're used to kind of trying to buy things from Geraldo's shop and all that, which can be mildly difficult to do. Because he really doesn't give us that much pop and power by himself. It's really up to everything in his shop to do all the pop and power, and they add up over time because they never go away, which is sweet. Some of this stuff we don't want to waste our money on, like Maelstroms or Jerry's Fire or even Sharpening Stones. None of this is going to actually matter on round 100. We're just literally squandering our money unless we need it to survive. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to buy our Alk, and then I'm going to go for the Parachute Potions. I'm feeling it. I think only 2 towers to buff is good enough for me. I feel pretty confident. Let's show off round 63 again, just to show you that we don't have a complete BS strategy here. This is our Tack Zone Alk combo with a cannon and Bomber Race combo. It's all going pretty well for us. It's really the cannon doing most of the work, though, to be completely honest with you. I do have him on first for now. We might switch him to close later on, but for right now, I just want to make sure he's... well, you know what? Let's move him to close. I just want to make sure he's hitting balloons, because then the explosions explode all over the place and kill random nonsense. It's actually kind of good also to kind of spread out where we're popping the Moabs, because it's kind of nice with these guys. As soon as they come in, they basically get popped. The other guys take a little bit longer to get popped, but we don't have too many balloons kind of overlapping each other all at the same time. So far, I gotta say, our strategy looks pretty simple. Well, again, you guys can probably hear my dog's barking. She's angry because there's people moving across the street. But anyways, we're going to start off with a weirdly placed spike factory. This is going to be a bottom path permaspike. Okay? It's kind of a weird one, but trust me, once you get this guy going and once you see where the strats are flowing, you're going to realize the true power of the perma spike. I'm also just going to go bigger stacks and white hot spikes because I'm not sure if I'm going to alchem or not, so let's just play it safe and get that guy. It's like a smidge more popping power for the middle path, but not enough to actually make it worthwhile fighting for it in any weird way. Next part of my squad here is going to be a heli pellet, so we're going to go for a support chinook whenever we get the money, and now we can move around our perma spike. What? Yeah, dude! It seems, again, pretty goofy to think about all this stuff and think that this is somehow an expert level strategy. But we have to do weird, active micro. Alright, now I still have very few abilities, but soon is when this all going to change. After we get this guy going, we're basically not going to be doing almost any attack towers anymore. It's going to be more about support towers. We're still going to have to, work on Geraldo and all that stuff. But it's going to be more about just slowing things down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to throw our perma spike all the way over here. We want to make sure that our perma spike is going to be throwing spikes on this part of the map as much as we possibly can, because Zoma gods are too big for it, so it does not matter that these guys are going to be like next to where Bloons come out. No big dealio. And then what we're going to do is we're basically going to swap this over and put the perma spike over here after a little while. Not right when this ability comes back, but whenever we feel like we should go for it. All right, now we're going to go for 2 Moab glues. So I'm going to throw the Moab glue. If it can go in range of the village, I will. If not, I'm just going to throw it nearer to the front. I'm just going to put them on last, and we're going to go for a quick Moab glue in order to get the bigger globs, but not the glue splatter. I don't think I need to go that fancy with it. I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. I think I can put this one in range of a village, though. Maybe. You know what? Yeah, we'll put it in range of the village still. I kind of want to just move this dart monkey out of the way, actually. Let's move the dart monkey out of the way so I can put the glue right there. We should have spikes on both sides here, so even if DDTs are able to sneak through our regular part of our defense, they will not sneak through the entirety of our defense here. And here's our glue. Again, we're just going to go globs on it. We don't want to go too fancy with it. You're going to see these spikes are important here, guys. Pretty important. And it's time for us to move this guy back as soon as we get our next ability. So at this point, we're basically just ability spamming. Whatever we can use, whenever we can use it, is what we're doing. We're slowing things down, using our ground zeros properly, and for our last move of the day, we're going to be moving our spike factory over here for the finale of 99 and a hundo. See, there's still kind of a lot going on over here, but that's what the perma spike's for. It cleans up all the random balloons that might otherwise sneak through. Alright, life's pretty good. For 99, don't forget to put down your genie for Geraldo. It's kind of important. Like very, very powerful part of your team here. Luckily, we planned our perma spikes pretty well, and we've got the finale here, and we're going to have our ground zero and our sabo ready to go if we need it for around 100. Luckily, this genie does a ton of damage to this guy, in addition to having like a bajillion projectiles and a front-loaded tack zone. Combine it all together, we've got a good team. So I think I'm going to sabo as soon as the bad pops, and I'm not going to use the ground zero though. I'm just going to wait on that. It should pop pretty quickly here. The next few seconds. Come on, pop it. There we go. We sabo the DDTs. We got perma spike at the back here, so slowing things down is just not a big deal. And we ground zero everything else. And that's how you do it, my friends. You're going to have to use abilities. You're going to have to use combos. You're going to have to use heroes. You're going to have to use towers. You're going to have to use it all together to make sure you are going to be the champion of the world. And there it is. I get $900. This is actually the first time I beat it on Chimps mode. Woo!